it was so dark. It felt so, it's giving mystic Asia, Pluto placements. Let's dive deep into. But no, guys. I mean, yeah, it's raining outside. It's dark, but I mean, we're going dark. I just don't know that I need that dark. Hold on, let's. How about that? That seems lighter. That seems less dark. All right, so we're gonna go with that and let everybody know I'm here. Everybody, as in, like, there's just so many people who need to know that I'm here right now at this moment in life, right? Um, Welcome, everyone. I am excited to get to this next portion of our play here where we go into. Wait, is that my. No, that wasn't. Okay. Where we go deeper into Pluto and what Pluto is uh is a the energy, right? We're, like I said, I'm not an astrologer, right? So I can only do so much. I can only I'm just little old me. I'm just little old Asia sitting here working through the energy of it all. It is really dark outside. Like, you would think I am doing this in the middle of the night. It is 11:37ish a.m. That's weird. It's weird. It's such a weird feeling, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it because what else is there to do? Hold on. I'm gonna open up the chat. Okay, so I think that's everything. I am excited to be here. It is Wednesday, and if you were around for the last set of rantings, then you know that I've decided to take Wednesday as a chance to, or an opportunity, even, if you will, to just bring out like an actual deep dive information wise on like one subject. Okay, hi. On like, hi, hello everyone, on like one subject, right? So right now I am working through my Pluto placement, and I thought that it would be helpful for others who are wanting maybe some more insight into how the Pluto placement in your birth chart can help you as well. So it's not like, so Pluto is not like other planets where, we have like these personal planets that are Mars and Venus and Mercury. They're closer to the sun. They're more personal planets, right? And then you have like these um, monstrous, um, you know, it's just like, either terror or sunshine type with like a Jupiter energy or a Saturn energy, right? um Even a Uranus energy, like Neptune energy. Okay, Pluto energy is just kind of its own vibe. It's, just out there doing its own thing. Why didn't I turn off my phone? Where is my phone? Honestly, I have no idea. I don't even know where my phone is, but I didn't turn it off and I don't have it. So the way I see it, don't call me right now. Don't call me. Okay. Um, but Pluto energy, it's its own thing, right? When you think about how Pluto rules, it's like the ruler over Scorpio, right? When you think about that Scorpio energy, when people talk about Scorpio, right? It's kind of giving like with this light, right? It's that, it's its own thing. It's its own energy. It's just there, and it has um darkness to it, but it also has truth to it, right? So it's a very um, dark, but let's shine light on the truth, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna say that way, okay? And so what we've been doing. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. What we've been doing is last week we went through, let's see, last week we went through the uh, the first four houses, right? And I'm going to show you here. This is the book that I use for my work with Pluto. It's a book by Marie Silva. She did like all of the different planets, and I've enjoyed being able to go on the deep dive in a bunch of different planets. I'm on Pluto because my alchemy reading that I did with some alchemy cards. Mention that again. Just go back last week. Go back to last week's video. Kind of look over the beginning part of last week's video. It was kind of like the introduction to everything. Okay. But yeah, the video was an introduction, and we talked about what the different houses are. So I'm going to pull up the different houses here, and you can see, okay, so we talked about like the 12 houses. I didn't go over all 12 houses, and so that's why we're back here again today, right? We did the first four houses and how Pluto would affect the first four houses. Why? Because I did that whole introduction at the beginning. We went over how to find your birth chart, went over what it means, how to figure out where Pluto is in your birth chart, the free way to get a birth chart. Okay, all of that is in last week's video. So just go back, find last week's video, and you can go over like the first 15-20 minutes of last week's video was the introduction, if you will. Okay, so we're now going to go over chart houses 5, hopefully through 12. I'm hoping to get through all 12 houses. I mean, that's my hope, right? So I would like to get through the last 8. That's how it should work, So yes, pull up your birth chart. Okay. Find your Pluto. All right. Pluto is going to be the little P. We talked about this. It looks like a little P with an L. Honestly, it's really easy to see. It's the only one that looks like a P. Like, honestly, it doesn't even look like any of the other signs. They were so stepchild with it, and you know what I mean? Okay. So you find it in your birth chart. Find the house that it's in. Okay. And what we are doing is focusing on the mirrored shadow portion. Hey Dolo, hey Lana, the mirror shadowed portion, as far as what these hidden portions, what shining truth on these portions of your chart, of your personality, of your archetype, of your who you are, your identity, and how Pluto affecting this portion, this sign in this house, and how it can affect you and how you can work through it and use it. This is most important, how you use this information to work for you, right? So that's where we are. So I am going to get to the 5th house here. Let's see. Okay, so Pluto in the 5th house now. Whew. Okay, so the 5th house, where are we at? I gotta bring back up my chart. All right. Okay. So Pluto in the 5th house. Now the 5th house is going to be your pleasure center. Wait, we're not doing Aquarius. What are you talking about? We are doing Pluto. Aquarius is is your sign. Yes, Aquarius is definitely your sign, but where is your Pluto is what we are doing. But I love that you are an Aquarius. Aquarius. Yeah. Let me get back in here. Hold on a second. Oh no. I may have done something wrong. Am I even on? I don't know. Well, let's see. Oh gosh. Hold on a second. Please hold. All right. How do you know which house you're in? Okay. So how you would know which house your Pluto is in? I just said this. We last week we went through a deep dive into oh no. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay. Yeah. So last week we went on a deep dive through finding your chart. Go to like Astro. Oh, everybody is in the same area. Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to find your chart. Okay. You're going to look for your Pluto. Okay. Likely Pluto is either going to be in Libra or it's going to be in like Virgo, or yeah, it's either going to be in Libra or Virgo or something like that. Okay. It's going to like everybody has Libra. I mean, has Pluto in the same place. Like in the same, we're all pretty much in the same sign, but where in your chart is your Pluto is where we really want to go. So right now we are on the 5th house. Okay. Houses 1 through 4, we talked about last week. So go back and find the last week's video. It's on YouTube. Asia Stormborn. I'm Asia Stormborn everywhere. Anyway, go back and find it. Okay. But we are on Pluto in the 5th house. And what we are talking about when we're talking about the 5th house, your 5th house is that house with pleasure. It's got creativity. It's got sex. It's the creations that come from the sex. So like your children, that creative, like it's very like kind of feeling, right? The birth. Okay. So all of that is going to be in your 5th house. And like I said last week, these are not like the end all ultimate parts of your house, right? You're going to go through and kind of feel into what the houses really mean. It takes years. And again, I'm not an astrologer. Okay. It's just the energy of that house, creativity, sex, art. Mine is in Taurus, if I am seeing well. So you're saying your Pluto is in your Taurus? I don't know what you're saying there, Alana. But let me know where you're going with it. Hold on, I'm going to turn on the chat over here also, just to make sure that, because I closed it because I clicked on something wrong. It was bad. Okay. Okay. So when Pluto is in your 5th house, now this is all according to Marie Silva. Okay. So when Pluto is in your 5th house, we have creativity. And your creativity is taken very seriously. You're probably like, keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit type stuff. Okay. You're going to be overly heightened when it comes to that creativity. And you're likely to choose expression very carefully. It says you're avoiding showing any imperfections to the world. Okay. So like I mentioned before, we are talking shadow mirror aspects. Okay. Those things that when you actually look at them and shine light on them, they're going to help you to grow. Okay. And this is how we're changing our lives using Pluto. Okay. Pluto, shining light on Pluto is shining light on the things that we normally don't want to talk about. All right. These are the things that you keep to yourself. Okay. So for the 5th house, it's likely your perfectionism. Okay. It's likely the idea of being so engrossed in what your creative method is going to look like that you analyze it to death. That analysis paralysis. You're like, it has to be perfect. It has to look right. It has to be me. It has to be true. But it never comes out because you analyze it so far in that you just never make it happen. All right. So let's see. If your Pluto is in your 5th house, then it says it is best for you to adopt a lighthearted attitude towards life, because your seriousness is going to turn everything you do into something stressful, either for you, for like, and that's going to create stress for everyone else. Okay. So when people are like, lighten up, man, like it's just coloring, it's just paint by numbers. All right. That energy, you're gonna, you need to, I encourage you to lighten up a little bit. Okay, if Pluto is in your fifth house, okay, it says if these people wish to express their interest in the other person, this is when it comes to love now, right? They're going to make it abundantly clear, and then and then the person on the receiving end will realize it almost immediately, which I love. I love it if somebody is like, look, man, I'm interested in you. And they just kind of like go with it. Like, I'm interested in you. And then bam, like we know where we're at. I like that kind of energy. I love that on top, like out in the open. You know what I mean? Let's see. Pluto in the fifth house. These people either delay having children until they are ready, or they face problems having kids and completing the pregnancy. It says their children will be very appreciated. And that goes back to this idea of wanting perfection and likely having had something earlier in your childhood that forced you into a mindset of things need to be perfect. So likely if you have Pluto in your fifth house and you've been through something like this where it created this limit belief for you that things have to be perfect, to the point where it's kind of stressing you out often enough, you will likely not have children until you feel that things are going to be perfect enough for that child as well. And that's just kind of how it is, right? Okay, Pluto, sixth house. Now, sixth house. Let me get you up here. Let me get you back up to date here. Sixth house. I lost my window. I'm always losing my window. I'm not gonna even lie. The sixth house is the house of work. It's your workplace. Enemies. Interesting. Physical pain, illness, and lifestyle. A lot of times people will identify with their work, and so sometimes it does feel like a lifestyle for you. If that's you, then I apologize for any inconvenience that this may be causing you. The sixth house, the Pluto in the sixth house is going to inspire a person to serve others around them, okay? But Pluto's nature is the exact opposite of servitude, all right? So if you have Pluto in your sixth house, then you have this dichotomy of having your work and your service, which is the sixth house, being influenced by Pluto, which is very independent, like we discussed. It's out there. It's not even like the others. Just out there hanging out. We're just like chilling on our own vibes, right? We're just like, whatevs, man. Let me know when y'all want me to come back through, like I'm good. I'm great by myself, So having that Pluto independent energy in your sixth house means you're likely going to be that type of lone wolf type person that feels like they can do everything on their own. You probably have a lot of power struggles going on in your job or in your career or in your work, right? There's going to be like these power struggles that because you're basically working through this dichotomy. So like we mentioned, when you're talking about having the shadow, like we're shining light on the shadow, if this part annoys you or makes you feel some kind of like because you're like, hey, I'm fine, I can work with people, I'm great, it could be that people are annoyed or put off or don't vibe well with, I don't know what the dog is doing, or don't vibe well with this power need that you have, this independence. All right. The sixth house can make you very insecure about your work. And if this is your chart placement, then you'll want to avoid criticism at all costs. Like someone's like, hey, I would like to talk to you about that report that you run. You're like, hey, no, I don't know. And I'm not going to lie, as somebody who is ruled with a lot of Pluto energy myself, I can say that criticism part does, it stings a lot, I feel like that Scorpio energy is really good at being able to give, but we are never really good at being able to receive the criticism. It's just the nature of the beast, okay? It's just how we are. We're going to have to figure that out, figure out how to get that criticism back, right? I'm working on it, okay? I'm like 50 something years old almost, right? Okay. Being able to receive criticism without wanting to take out my stinger and like just totally like force somebody down into a ditch. I'm working on it, okay? I'm not gonna lie. But if you have this in your sixth house, is your house of work, that energy being in your sixth house means you're gonna feel like you need to avoid this criticism. It's not gonna feel good. You're attached to whatever you're working on, and a lot of times this energy shows up as identifying as your work, right? We talked about that. Like I said, some people just identify as their work, hi, I'm Asia and I'm a whatever, you know what I mean? Instead of like, hi, I'm Asia and they pay me to whatever, you know what I mean? So if you have that mindset of like your work is your identity, and then you have Pluto in your work, house, the sixth house, it is going to be something for you to work on as far as disidentifying with that job aspect, your career aspect, or making your work your lifestyle, right? Finding ways to disconnect that so that you have your I am a doctor, and then you have your I am a person who works as a doctor in the capacity as a doctor. Okay. Um, let's see. Sixth house has merits, it says. Not all dark and gloomy. It says when Pluto is in the sixth house, you have the gift of intense focus and you're able to dedicate yourself to whatever you choose to do. Love that. I don't have that. That is not me. But if you have that, more power to you. I am here for it. Hey, Biggie Biggie, I am here for it, because anybody who can just sit there and focus and dedicate themselves 100% effort, like invested in every, the endeavor that you're doing, man, I got like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and then you put it all together and then it's 100. Yay. Okay. We're moving on to the seventh house. Let's see. Seventh house is partnerships. Oh, yes. Relationships. Your clients. It says the other, right? That one-on-one. All right. I'm not gonna lie. Seventh house is not my favorite. Apparently, I have zero authority over my seventh house. Okay. I'm not going to even. I'm trying really hard right now. My energy on my personal realm has me doing a lot of work in my seventh house. Okay. And I'm working hard on it, guys. I am working on it. Okay. But this is not about me. This is about you guys with Pluto in your seventh house. Okay. So now we're going to think about this Pluto, independent, powerful, truthful energy in the house of relationships, one-on-one, clients, partnerships. Okay. I can kind of already see where this is going. Can you? So when Pluto is in the seventh house, there is this distrustful energy that can come up. It's like an intensity, like this intense, hello, you are mine. You are mine. And I am gonna watch you, type of energy I feel. These chart holders often try to observe their partner's actions acutely and decipher the meaning behind every small move their partner makes. Okay. If this is you and you just joined in at this point because you saw, okay, Pluto, seventh house, that's me. And you've looked at your chart and you found Pluto in your seventh house, and now you're sitting there and you're like, hey, so maybe what they were saying is right. I don't know, because I heard this a lot. Why does everybody keep saying this about me? That kind of a thing. Okay, that's where we are. All right. The good news is because you're here and because you're doing the work and because you're shining the light and you're looking and dusting off the cobwebs of truth inside of these shadowy, mirrory realms, you're able to take this information and use it to work for you, which is the point of this. All right. So, chart holders with Pluto in the seventh house are often very good judges of human dynamics, and they often patiently probe to gather more details. Okay, they do not readily associate anyone, whether romantically or business or even friendships. Okay, it's not like a quick type of a thing. They're likely the type of person that takes a while to get to know you. I know that Pluto energy is very, let me find the information first, and then I'm going to be able to act on it. So if you're talking about relationships and partnerships, then you're looking at, I need all of the information first. I'm going to analyze it, and then I'm going to be able to act upon it, which is that energy, right? A lot of people think, oh, she's just sitting in the corner. She's aloof. She does not like people, when in reality, we're just sitting there taking it in, trying to figure out how it works. How is it going to work for us? If it's going to work for us. Okay. The power struggles in intimate relationships, because we talked about this Pluto, power, independent, blah, 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 right? Now you have relationships. Okay. I told you it was coming. I told you it was coming. Okay. We knew it was coming. The power struggles that you have in intimate relationships can cause undue stress, damage your bonds. They generally fear the attachment and vulnerability that comes with opening up to someone. So we're going to go with in the past, because we've had, such issues with relationships, and maybe you've attached and then something happened, and then you were like, no, fuck this, it's not right, right? So then you unattach, right? And then you go back into this, I don't like this. I don't like any of this. I don't like it, right? So you take this it becomes a fear. So you have to go back to the part where you were first hurt, right? And generally, if we're talking relationships, it could have been in a childhood situation, possibly teenage, earlier adult, right? Where that situation first happened, where you were first given signs that relationships were not safe for you because of how you interact in relationships, okay? And then you take that part, you go back there, and that's where you look as far as where the growth can start, so that you heal that portion. I told you it's deep. And then you use that portion to get you along to the next step in your life. All right. So that's Pluto, seventh house. I do not know what my dog has eaten. I'm 98% certain I'm going to go out there and it's likely he found a whole new toilet paper roll. He got a whole roll of toilet paper. A whole roll. All right. We are on the eighth house. Let me bring this back up again. Oh, goodness. Let me bring this back up again. The eighth house. I don't know where I put my phone, though. It's not in here. And now I can't even, Okay, anyway. The eighth house. One second. I gotta find my phone. I've gotta find my phone. Hold on a second. I am not prepared. I'm I'm very rarely am I prepared this much. All right. Thank you for holding. I'll have to cut that part out somehow. I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out. We'll edit it in post. All right. Eighth house. Eighth house for us is going to be that money, ooh, our debts, our inheritances, the traumas, loans, taxes, resentments. Eighth house is pretty deep. Wow. I'm not going to even lie. If you have Pluto in your eighth house, I'm already looking at where you would be. Just like total life change, total makeover type situations. All right. So Pluto naturally rules the eighth house. Again, that would make sense because it's all the dark stuff is there in the eighth house. If you saw it, it was like, yo, that's a lot of dark stuff. So the Pluto is the natural ruler in the eighth house, as well as, Scorpio. So I can see where this is going. Anyway, the biggest challenge faced by Pluto in the eighth house is the ability to let go. All right. If you've ever hung out with somebody that has like a lot of that you are mine type energy, it could be scary. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. We ain't for everybody. But yes, that energy of finding someone, and then or something, or an idea, right, and then letting go of it, it can be a little hard for those of us ruled by Pluto. Okay, and a chart holder with Pluto, in the eighth house, you're going to take relationships very seriously. And you're going to experience a lot of uneasiness and difficulty when you're discussing the hidden parts of your relationship. Okay, those things that you really don't want to talk about. Discussing those things with your partner is going to be really hard. Because, again, the shadow part, the I need to keep this hidden, the secrets, great secret keepers, right? Keeping those secrets, though, is the goal, right? Keeping the secrets is the goal. Okay, if somebody tells me something, I'm gonna keep the secret. If they tell me it's a secret, I'm keeping the secret, and I'm happy to keep the secret. Okay, when it's my stuff and I want to keep my stuff hidden, I'm gonna keep my stuff hidden. This is just as Scorpio energy. Okay, this is not me personally, right? Because honestly, I don't have a lot of secrets right now, and I don't have a lot of partnerships. Okay, so just understand, I'm just talking in general here. Okay. People with the eighth house Pluto placement can turn a relationship into a power struggle by trying to seize power at every opportunity. Okay, and this may go back, so just like we've done with the other houses, this may go back to something that happened to you previously where you either felt like you lost your power, and as with that identity of wanting that power, if you've lost your power in some way, and felt that uneasiness, that pain, that wound that comes with having lost your power, getting to this point where you're now in situations where you have to either share your power or divulge your power to someone else can be harsh, hard, right? So it's the idea of being able to go back and see, where did I lose my power and how can I heal that space right there, knowing that not everything revolves around having that power at all times. There is a luxury, it's a commodity, okay, in being able to give up some, not all, doesn't have to be some, just consider it, okay, guys, some power to someone else. Okay, that intimacy that comes with having shared power, if you want that, you're going to have to go back in to your past, into the shadows, dive deep, bring the flashlight, dust off the webs, shine the truth in on where it was that power was lost. Okay, even after the end of a relationship, people with a eighth house Scorpio, eighth house Pluto, which honestly kind of the same thing. They tend not to end their power struggle. There's this like feeling of it's mine. I have to keep it. There can be a lot of hard divorce. Like, if you want an easy divorce, basically don't find one of these people, is what I guess they're saying. Okay. But it's that this is going to be tumultuous. This is going to be hard to get rid of this person type thing. If they have that energy, that Pluto in their eighth house energy, it's going to be, like the cat came back over and over again. They just keep coming back. Easy to get rid of people that don't want to be with somebody who is not easy to get rid of. You're going to have to go through, find their chart, figure it out. Okay. Make sure you'll know though, because they'll show signs throughout the relationship, right? Like we talk about this, people show signs all the time. You know what you're getting into, like I had this whole conversation with myself this morning while I'm journaling. Okay. I know what I'm getting into. All right. I knew what it was. All right. And I went in anyway. Okay. Several times. I'm not even talking about one time. Like, I know what I was getting into. Anyway, yeah, so we know what we're getting into. We do it anyway. And the signs are there. That's where I'm going with that. The signs are there. If you're with somebody and you don't know their chart, but you do know that they are having a hard time letting go of something, right? They have a hard time with, admitting fault, or they have a hard time with getting off a subject even, then yes, it's going to be hard for them to go when the time comes for them to leave. Okay, let's roll. We're going through. I knew we would. I knew we would. All right. So now these last 4 houses, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th houses, those tend to be the houses of like death, rebirth, and transition, like to the next, because basically we're looking at a wheel. Okay, we've discussed how the law of rhythm works, right? So we know things go in a cycle. Okay, there is birth, death, rebirth, you know what I mean? Like, so it's definitely a cycle. Okay, so these last 4 houses, they're going to be that death, transition, transformation into like that next cycle of rebirth. Okay, so if you were going to think about it like a year, these would be like the fall, winter parts of the year, right? Where we're cleaning out, getting ready for harvest, harvesting, getting ready for winter, getting into waiting for the next trees to come out in the spring next time. Okay, this is the dark night part, the long dark nights portion of the calendar. Okay, that's how these houses are. Okay, if I was going to liken the houses to the calendar. Okay, if that works for you, take it. If it did not resonate, don't take it. Okay, so a 9th house. All right, so the 9th house is the house of God, worldview, broadcast, higher education, study, spirituality, publishing, divination. Okay, this is that. Okay, so the 9th house, let's see, it's like expansion, philosophy, that part that you get to when you're like, who am I type situations, and you start like questioning your place in this world. How can you reform your life? You're on that type of vibe. Okay, in the 9th house. Okay, so having Pluto in your 9th house is going to be that your main goal in life is to sharpen your mind by expanding your knowledge. So you're going to be one of those knowledge seekers. You're going to be one of those people who is on a consistent search for the why, for the how, right? Your biggest passions are going to be philosophy and religion. You're going to spend a great deal of time devoted to just finding, seeking truth. Okay. My type of people, by the way, if I might say so myself. Okay. You're going to be questioning everything you hear, read, believe. Everything is going to just be like a new, why. All right. And it's not just like the learning by reading. It's more it's deeper than that. All right. It's a deeper knowledge. Okay. Not just who, not just the surface level. Okay. And this comes from the fact that you're naturally inclined to uncover truth. So, investigative types. All right. You feel the need to understand how the different parts work together. And when you succeed in this, you're going to be able to understand way more than most people do. All right. Which could be your problem. Right. Some would say this drive is only your fondness for philosophy at work. Your willingness to uncover hidden truth is going to suggest like your biggest strength is intelligence. Okay. Which consequently, if you're looking for a change, then you should begin your journey with a mental rebirth, it says. As mental changes can be much more arduous to achieve than physical ones, you might find this process quite overwhelming at times. First, however, you should never let your fears get in the way of achieving your dreams. Which, isn't that everybody? That can't just be Pluto 9th house people. You should just never let your fears get in the way of achieving your dreams. I like that. Furthermore, because you're not ready to accept anything on blind faith, you're a good candidate as a leader. Let's see, when it comes to Pluto in the 9th house, there's several things you should be aware of that can hinder your emotional rebirth. Okay, so here are the portions. All right. Because you have a Pluto strong influence in your 9th house, it's this knowledge, this hunger for knowledge could turn into an obsession. So we've discussed already just 20 minutes ago, where we talked about the idea of it was 10 seconds ago. The idea of not being able to let go. All right. It's a Pluto trait. All right. If you are on a constant, deeper search for knowledge and you can't let go, you could possibly end up in the deep, dark channels of the dark web, right? The places where people shouldn't go. Don't go there. Don't go there. Okay. You may need somebody who's going to help you keep it reeled in as far as, are you going too far? Because if you go too far, then you're down in there and you're with the theorists, right? It could pose a problem. The ability to not let go could also be somewhat put off by other people. All right. If you are constantly bringing up something that other people don't want to listen to or hear, trust me. Okay. You're going to find yourself on the other end of likely an argument, or a lot of just being cut off, and if that is something that you're used to, then you're just used to it and you're like me, you're like, okay, well, hey, it happens. People cut me off a lot and I'm like, okay, well, cool. I guess, because that just means that they're not for you, right? Hopefully you can have that kind of a mindset that if you find yourself in a situation where you're not like so obsessed with a person. So we're going back to that 8th house, right? Like 8th house Pluto, where they're like really obsessed, and they're like, oh no, wait, stay with me. Whew. If you find yourself in a situation where someone does not want to hear what you have to say, welcome to my world. You're gonna have to find other ways to express what you would like to say. Okay. And that's, pretty much that. You don't want to go down a path of mental self-destruction because you are so intent and so obsessed with a particular topic, dive on a philosophical topic. Okay. I discussed this before. I know we talked about this. This is the balance, right? Temperance. I think I talked about this. And it's the idea that there is light and dark. Okay, so if you're going to go too deep on the depths in your journey and not bring out any light, then yeah, you're not going to be balanced. There's no balance there. All right, you want balance. All right, 10th house. That's all I'm going to say about that. 10th house. 10th house is career, public image, titles, reputation. It's your midheaven. Okay, professional titles, exposure, mother. All right, so that's what the 10th house is about. All right. It's also reserved for karma, finding your voice among the masses. So that's that communication, that broadcasting, right? It's that energy right there. All right. So if Pluto is in your 10th house, I'm just going to assume that this is where you're going to continue on that transition, right? Hey, Ma, you're going to continue on that transition, right? That going from where you were in stepping into your new part, right? So this is that rebirth that happens when you like change, when you move into something else. And it's always, I'm not going to lie. It's always the parts where it's like, you've had this knowledge, like you've figured out where you want to be. You've done your deep dive, right? You're like, okay, I like this, or I don't like this, right? And then you're like, you've taken the parts that you like, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to now take this and make this a part of who I am now. You see what I'm saying? So that's what that is. All right. So this says, with your powerful personality, you can influence people around you, making it easier to forge connections and contribute to your mental rejuvenation, which I like. I'm down for it. Because look, mental connections, I'm not going to lie, mental connections could be everything sometimes, especially like if you're in a space kind of like where I'm at, right? Where it's like, there's not a lot of mental connections. But you're like, you're like, I need that mental connection, So if you have this, ability to find that, I say go with it. But there is the darker portion, like I mentioned, where you go too far deep in. Okay. So let's see. It says you want the public to know how good you are. You want to like create this, you broadcast this like perfected version of yourself, right? And that could be where you may want to focus. Okay, so when we're talking about going in, looking at the shadow portions of you and figuring out like what you can like clean out, okay, likely something happened earlier in your life, something, you were a child, whatever, that may have caused you either to quiet that portion of your, that voice, where you quiet your voice, or there is the portion of it where you are, you were either told to shut up or like, someone said something to you and it forced you into this mentality of, I need to stay quiet. All right. So you're going to go in and find where that happened. Okay. Because there is going to be, it's hard. It is. I'm not going to lie. It's hard. Okay. Doing the shadow work is hard because finding the things that you don't like instead of, like I said, and I say this, hanging out in the light all day, I'm going to be my perfected, unicorn and sunshine and rainbows version of myself. Okay. There's no growth there. All right. If you want to grow, if you want to figure out that portion where you are taking the next step, being your next best version of yourself, right? Taking the step towards your better version of yourself, right? Getting going through the changes, going through the growth, okay? Outside of like a childlike mental mind, right? You go into a growth mindset, all right? So what you want to do is you want to find where this happened. And I know I just went on like a total I went down like a total rabbit hole. But you want to find where this happens. You want to be able to open that part up, heal that part, work with that wound, and then get to where you realize that your communication, your voice, this area of you, okay, this energy in here, is going to be your superpower. There you go. You're welcome. I'm like, thank you. You're welcome. All right. So it says, because of your strong personality, you tend to get into confrontation with authorities due to the negative influences of older relatives. You often find yourself rebelling against their decisions, especially when you feel these decisions are not justified. I can see that as well. All right. So you have a problem with authority. Welcome. We all have a problem with authority. But you have a problem with authority, and you're like, for whatever reason, it just, it is. You just go back and find where the problem started. Okay, if you had a problem with authority, go back and find where your problem started. I can tell you where my problems with authority likely started, but this is not about me. This is about you with the Pluto and we're in the 9th house. Okay, the 10th house. This is about y'all. All right. You will also need to make sure you do not become an overly authoritative person yourself. So here's where we get more into that darker shadow side, okay? If you are going to be here and you have that energy of I can, like that mind, obsessive type energy, and then you bring that obsessive type energy into your communicating, your broadcasting, you could become overly authoritative. Bully. I'm thinking like an Alex Jones type, but I don't even know if I'm allowed to say his name, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking of that, like overly authoritative person, okay? So just like how you kind of have that fear of someone else's strong authority because of, like I said, what happened back here, okay, and you're working through that, you could have the propensity to then become that. Because sometimes we become those things that we've been trying so hard to stay away from, right? Like we it happens. It's like we transform so far away from we're running so far away from the thing that we're trying to, be afraid of, that we end up becoming that thing. It happens. It happens. It's okay. Just, we know what's happening. Okay. And now we're going to bring it back. All right. I'm going to try and go faster here. 11th house. All right. So our 11th house is network, audience, community, your people, good spirit, aspirations, Okay. All right. So, it's like all the good stuff, the chunky good stuff. All right. Where your true friends are. Okay. So this says this is the house where your true friends are the decisive factor in your journey of personal rebirth. All right. So look, when we're talking about going from like here to here, all right, and in between here and here, here and here, then you have a rebirth that's supposed to happen right about here, and it's supposed to happen. Nobody's supposed to stay the same all their life. Okay, you come here with a goal. Typically, this is my beliefs. Okay, you come here with a goal. You're here to get through your goal. And somewhere in between there's like this transformation that happens, so that you're like, oh wait, hold on, let me do my goal. Okay, so like right now I'm working my goal, right? My goal is to put the information out there, help you to figure out how to use your energy so that you can do the next steps for you. Thank you. All right, so if you're watching this, I'm always appreciative. Okay, but we are 55 minutes in, and that means that I need to hurry up. All right. It says, so under Pluto's guidance, you and the ability to recognize your true friends, you can build exceptional social circles based on harmony. People within your circle are people that you always count on. Again, this all sounds like something I know nothing about, okay? Because I think I've seen it in movies, but having that kind of a circle sounds awesome. I would love it. It's back on that connection thing. It sounds great, and I'm here for it. By the way, I have a whole community out there, the Creatrix Academy. If you are looking for, if you're like me and you just don't have that, and you're like looking for that, I say come join the academy. Okay, being a part of the community is free. All right, you just come in, hang out. We talk. We have live streams, and we do this kind of thing. We kind of deep dive into stuff, figure out our stuff. We got some Soul Alchemy stuff going on. I got some urban alchemy stuff going on in there. Okay, but to join is free. All right, but to get the good stuff, then yeah, you got to pay for the good stuff price. But I say join anyway; it's free. So those, let's see. Whew. Okay, the 11th house associates social interactions with material wealth. Okay, so this means that by choosing your social circle carefully, you can have a successful career and all the commodities that you require. So if you have Pluto in your 11th house, and this suggests that you do like the work, you're good at finding the circle that is going to get you the network, the success that you need. Check your house. Okay, it's easy. Like I said, it's free. It says, do not let the dwarf planet fool you, though. As it can make anything larger than it seems, including your courage to take on new challenges. Okay, so this is where we're getting into the dark parts. All right, because if you feel so compelled that you have like this circle and this close knit, this community, and it's helping you along your way. We talked about this. That overbearing, authoritative, power hungry type can also bring with it where you become too obsessed, too focused, too reliant, too obsessed, basically. You kind of become obsessed with it. What does my group look like? What does my group think? How does my social standing look? What is my social standing helping me? How does that look? Is this going to work for my social group? You kind of lose this part. You kind of lose this part. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. So when you're going through on your deep dive, looking in at the cave, okay, and you're like, hey, am I being overbearing when it comes to what does my social group think? That's maybe where you can start. Will I feel too lost without them? That type of a thing, I would think. All right, guys, we are finally on the 12th house, and I'm going to try and hurry it because an hour being on here, well, and I'm going to lie, I did take 5 seconds there in the middle to go find my phone. Okay, so 12th house, mental health, hidden enemies, liminality. Oh, I like that. Reality constructs, bad spirit, imprisonment, retreat. Okay, the 12th house is that, like I said, you're on the brink of the what is that called? When you're at your 12th house is like the tip. It's that back end, the hidden stuff that like nobody wants to talk about. The stuff that like you don't really normally see. It's that middle right before the beginning again. It's like mental health even. Okay, it's all of that stuff that's just like nobody talks about. The stuff in the 12th house, we're all just like, no, everything is fine, it's fine, just I'm great. Okay, all right, so The 12th house is interpreted as a form of escape from this world also. Okay, that, yeah, I'm going to put that one in also. Definitely like escapism. 12th house is big on escapism, like that alcoholism, like it's fine, everything is fine, type of a stuff. All right. Um, let's see, for those with Pluto in the 12th house, this means a regression to your subconscious and examining your thoughts. Okay. If you could not move on after a destructive event or break out from the current position, then this house can resolve that. So by delving into your unconscious, you can become part of something much bigger than your problem. So that's not me, that's Marie Silva. All right. And so here we are. We've taken obsessive thinking and now we're bringing it into the dark of the 12th house, that liminal portion, right? It's like midnight today, okay? Into your mental health, all right? So this has the purpose of teaching you about your importance. This is that self-evaluation. You are probably really good at that. Okay, so if you have Pluto in your 12th house, you are likely really good at this portion right here. Okay, the self-evaluation portion. You're really good at seeing that, you're like, I'm looking in on it, my mental health. You're probably one of those who's really good. And I love that for you. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So you might have grown up thinking that you cannot do more in life, or something may have happened to you later to make you believe this. So you've probably concluded that you deserve to be where you are. This is that shadow portion. So when you're going in, like I said, now we're back in childhood, maybe early adulthood, something happens where you feel, or you are told, or you are taught that where you are is where you're supposed to be, right? This also happens a lot like in religion. Okay, where you are is where you're supposed to be. Somebody else chose this for you. This is where you are. Okay, it's that kind of a mindset, right? And you take that limiting belief with you. I can't change it. It's not up to me. This is somebody else's decision, right? I'm supposed to be here. You can't go from the hood to the luxury, right? I'm supposed to be here, right? Or I could never go from, being in this type of a community to being in this type of a community. I'm supposed to be here. Okay. It's, this is, you got to find where it was. There's a light, you shine the light, you go in. Like I said, this is not like a one day, one moment type thing. All right. This is going to be like over the course of your life, right? And you use this information to work for you over the course of your life. All right. So you go in, you're like, okay, where is this? Where did I get this information that I am supposed to be where I am? That no matter how unsatisfying this is to me, this is just my lot in life, because you're going to go in and you're going to shine light and you're going to talk to that portion of yourself, okay? Because it's not true. Can you imagine if you are just one spot and you just have to be in that one spot because somebody else just decided you got to be in that one spot? Where would everybody be? We'd all just be in one spot. I definitely wouldn't be here talking to you right now. Okay. But you're going to go in, you're going to talk to that spot. I mean, yourself time, okay? Heal that wound, all right? Because a wound is created at that point. And a lot of times this is a community type of a wound, right? This is that imprisonment, right? It is imprisonment. Like this is like that a community kind of a wound also, but you got to go in, find it, shed light on it, and then move it towards, so that you shed light on it and heal that wound so that you can move towards where you're supposed to be, how you are supposed to get to your next step. Okay. Because again, can you imagine we all just came to Earth just so that we can be at our former, darker, smaller, not great shadow selves? I like to believe that I was put here to be better, to be greater, to move forward, to grow, to help others to grow, to be a part of growth, to be a part of world growth, right? And finding out how you specifically can do that for yourself is part of your growth into that portion of your life. That's just the way I see it. I'm going to go with that. I like it. Okay. I said it. I like it. We'll see how I feel about it. If you just joined or if you got here and you're like, okay, she talked a lot. I know I did. It was an hour. It's going to be on YouTube. It goes to the YouTube channel. Asia Stormborn everywhere. All right. But you'll find it on YouTube at Asia Stormborn. It's the Soulful Creatrix. Okay. You can go back in once you've found where your Pluto is placed. Okay. And like I said, the goal here, guys, girls, loves, my loves. Okay. The goal here is not to dwell on the negative or what you feel is the negative of your shadow aspect. Okay. We're not working in shadow to work in the negative. Okay. If that's how you want to put it. Okay. The goal here is to take that portion that has been in the shadow, that has been keeping you back as a limiting belief even. Okay. It's limiting you, shining light on it, and then healing it, healing the wounds associated with it so that you can move forward into a more light being. I know. You'll thank me later. Okay. Just come back and be like, thank you, Asia. Yeah, I got you. You know what I mean? And then you'll be done. It's good. It's good stuff. No worries. No worries. All right. So until next time, I think next time will be Friday. I think I'm back on Friday. All right. With the Q&A. Okay. So if you know what, Friday's a Q&A. All right. Go find your information, get your questions, come back on Friday for the Q&A. We'll discuss it, ask questions, I'll answer. We'll be there. It's done. Bam, bing, bang, bing, bang, bam. I don't know. Anyway, until next time, guys, I'm Asia, the Soulful Creatrix. I am wishing you nothing but love and peace and many continued blessings. Bye-bye.